So it's been a little while since I've made a video here, but now I'm actually back making a video that I think is about a very important issue going on right now. This is an issue of Apple versus the FBI. So lately we've had an issue where there was a terrorist iPhone. Apple has been requested by the FBI to unlock it. Apple has in fact declined that request. Now there is a whole lot of debate on what should be done next. So anyway, here is some tech for thought. So online privacy has really been a key issue ever since the internet came into existence. However, in the last few years, we have had news story after news story that has again raised our interest in internet security. Back in 2013, we had the NSA spying programs. In 2014, we had the celebrity iCloud hack. And in 2015, we had net neutrality rulings from the FCC, each of which held our attention for about a few weeks. But now in 2016, we face a brand new debate about a terrorist's iPhone. Back in December of 2015, in the city of San Bernardino, California, a terrorist attack left 14 people dead and 22 people severely injured. Now, one of the terrorists actually had an iPhone on his person, and Apple had cooperated with the FBI in order to provide iCloud data and even engineers in order to get the necessary data that the FBI would need for their investigation. Now, some people might be thinking that Apple is refusing this original request to unlock the iPhone due to privacy concerns. Well, actually, it's really the opposite. The government really has every reason to go into this phone and find the data. Not only is it relevant to this case, which was a terrorist attack and nobody would be defending this person, however, this is also not even the terrorist's iPhone. This iPhone belonged to his employer. So this is one of those incredibly rare situations where the government actually has every single right and every single reason to investigate this case and to dip into the privacy of the attacker. So what is the real issue here? Well, the real issue is that there are about 6 weeks of information that are on that iPhone that wasn't backed up to iCloud. And it's currently on the phone, which is password protected. And what the FBI needs to do is get into that phone. However, because of Apple's new security features, what they actually have is a feature on this phone where if you try to unlock it up to 10 times and fail, it will erase all of the information on the phone permanently. So what the FBI is asking Apple is to take their magic key that they can use to unlock the iPhone and get all that information, right? Wrong. Apple has said time and time again that there is no such existence of a key that could do that, and that by creating one would be incredibly dangerous and detrimental to the security of the iPhone. Now, the FBI is saying that this would only be used for the one iPhone and would never be used again. However, Apple can't make a key that could only be specific to this one phone and would likely end up being able to unlock all the other 700 million iPhones that have been sold over time, let alone the 200 million that were sold just last year. And this is what's really causing concern. First of all, it's incredibly hard to believe that Apple would give the FBI a key and the FBI would actually comply at using that key that could unlock every iPhone on the planet and only use it in this one scenario. That's very much like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet and only using the salad bar. And Apple has even stated that a single-use key is not what the FBI is looking for. What the FBI is really looking for in this case is for Apple to completely rewrite their operating system for the iPhone and allow it to have a backdoor entrance in order for the FBI to access the phone in scenarios like this. Now, a lot of people are saying this is important to the security of the country, and it would be important in retrieving essential information to investigate terrorists in attacks like this. And the main concern of this is that if Apple complies with this case by creating a key for this one specific iPhone, how is the US government not going to go after this in many other cases they would be looking for? Say there's a crime later on that isn't as severe, say drug possession. Now, that may seem like an unrealistic stretch from a terrorist attack. However, that is a case that is going on right now up in New York, in which Apple is also currently dealing with the FBI. So at this point, it's looking like a very lengthy legal battle is going to continue between Apple and the FBI. In fact, tomorrow, a US congressional hearing will be happening between Apple and the FBI. Apple's legal chief, Bruce Sewell, and FBI Director James Comey will be debating over issues of encryption. And already companies such as Google, Facebook, and even Verizon have come in support not of the FBI, but of Apple. But this really brings me down to my point of this entire video, which is, why should you care? You may not have cared when Edward Snowden brought forward the spy programs of the NSA. You may not have cared when the celebrity photos were leaked from iCloud. And you may not have cared last year about the FCC's ruling on net neutrality. Here is where you should care. Because this issue specifically is not only going to set an important precedent going forward for Apple and the iPhones, but for other tech companies who want to develop secure phones as well. Many people will actually be thinking in this case, I have nothing to hide, I have no photos on my phone that I don't want getting out, and I really have no criminal activity that I'm involved in. Now, first of all, it doesn't really matter if you have photos on your phone that you care about getting out there or not, but other people do, so it's an important issue to them. Me personally, I have photos on my phone that I personally wouldn't mind getting out. But putting weird photos aside, focusing on all the other information that is on your phone numbers, credit card data, health information, passwords, anything else. Basically, if you feel so secure about what's on your phone and don't care about it getting out, imagine completely unlocking your phone, setting it down on the sidewalk in the middle of New York City, and walking away. All of a sudden, the question that should be going through your mind isn't whether or not you have anything to hide, but whether or not you have something to lose. And if this backdoor were in fact created and Apple did comply with the FBI going forward on situations like this, the best case scenario would be that it stayed in the hands of the US government. Imagine if this key ended up in the hands of, say, a hacker from Russia, China, North Korea, or just some hacker in the US who wanted to show off to 700 million people. So how this is going to develop down the road is very uncertain at this point, but already we have seen a lot of spiked interest in this, and it has started a new conversation about privacy on our phones. And even though this is supposed to be a conversation between the people and the government about our privacy, it is going to be a conversation between the corporations who designed this and the government. However, I do feel good that a lot of these corporations like Google, Verizon, and Facebook are coming forward to address issues of privacy on behalf of their consumers, especially since many of them had had run-ins with privacy issues before. So when it comes right down to it, this is going to be an issue that affects you if you have an iPhone, it will affect you if you have a phone like an iPhone, and it will affect you going forward, that knowing that there is the possibility that future companies will have to comply with the standards set by the government to add less security to their phones, just so that way you can be a little safer in the case that they need to get information off of one person's phone, when in reality they would be opening up the possibility for a cyber attack and data theft from hundreds of millions of people. And that is some tech for thought.